I was just curious, is there a group that's coalescing to sort of challenge the exploitation of this disaster and this catastrophe for these big developers?
Yeah, I'll tell you, every Kanaka Maoli who's done even a fraction of work around decolonization in their minds and work to shed some of the forced assimilation is ready for a fight. Like the whole community, all of Hawaii actually is like, ready with their go bag when they get the kahea, when they get the call, because we are not going to let that happen, like literally over our dead body, because, and even more literally, over the bodies of our ohana who perished in that fire, which is a whole nother piece that disaster capitalist leaves out of the question is it even appropriate to build on top of this very, very hallowed ground that not only has the bones of our ancestors for 1,000 years, but has the bones and ashes of our ohana who perished on August 8th. And that is a serious question that we all have to ask when we talk about rebuilding, whatever that means. I think our Kanaka people, the people that I speak to, are very clear that Lahaina will not be rebuilt as a resort town, that we will look to our past. We have a saying, "Ika wā mā mua, ika wā mā hope." If you want to move forward, you must look to the past, because that's where the wisdom, the ike, and the lessons are. And that will help give us the vision to guide us forward. But that being said, I caretake a kupuna, an elder who lost his collection of artifacts and carvings in the fire, and he was devastated. But the next morning he had had a dream or a vision overnight, and he woke up and he said, "I was dreaming of seeds. I'm dreaming that we're planting seeds in the ash, planting the seeds of our ulu and our kalo and our medicines so that the next generation can have life." And we go back to this thinking before where we were talking about feeding. It's always about feeding in our culture. How can we feed? Because that's what gives us life and promotes life. So for this 85-year-old to have that kind of wisdom, I think many of us are holding on to that and looking at, when the time is right, how are we going to restore the waters? How are we going to get all that water from the mountain to come down and get back into our streams so that we can replant our lo'ikalo once that aina is safe to do so and determined to not be toxic? How are we going to restore mokuhinia, the wetlands, and all of the other wetlands along that shore that were filled in for American recreation, paved over for businesses, and for commodification culture? So there's many different groups. There is no one Hawaiian group, just like there's no one American group or one anything group, right? Like we work, we come together and we stand shoulder to shoulder when we need to. We all have different ways of looking at how to do that. But the important thing is that we're all at the table. And the important thing really is that it's at our own table, that we make our own table. And if those other guys are lucky, we'll let them come sit at it. I mean, really, that's the way this has to go down, because they will not, the settler government systems will not acquiesce. The master's tools can never dismantle the master's house. But we have the opportunity right now to show them a different way. We're showing the world a different way, that by having this, building these communities of care where we're taking care of one another, where we're meeting each other's needs. And, if the government wants to support us and throw us some funds, cool. But we don't need that. We have all made pilina and relationships in Hawaii and outside of Hawaii and have gotten so much support. If we needed to do it without them, we could, because we did for 1,000 years. And that's the whole thing, that the settler ideology is to create systems of dependence on them instead of interdependence on the things that have always cared for us, like our aina and our vai and our kai, our ocean water. So yeah, we're ready. But, the government is definitely making moves for a big development. I mean, even before the fires happened, my partner lives in Lahaina town, lost his house. And it was an very old family home, but the land goes back in the family like long before the house was ever there for multiple generations. And when people say they're from Lahaina, they mean like they're from Lahaina, genealogically connected for generations. And I won't even say I'm from Lahaina because I wasn't raised there, but my genealogy goes back there 22 generations. So we have our sense of place based on all of these different factors and how close we are to a place. But they've had people approaching them for years, offering millions of dollars for their land. And they absolutely will not sell. They absolutely will not, because you can't get the land back once they take it like that, unless there's something catastrophic again. So land is everything for us, and land is the foundation of settler colonialism, right? They need to get the land. If they can get the land, then they can control everything else, and they can control us, and they can make us dependent on them through their capitalist system, because now we have to buy their goods and services because we're not able to do it anymore because they've stolen the land and the water. So the goal is always to get back the land, get back the water, and be in those right relationships with that, and rebuild those connections and remember those stories and those mo'olelo that our ancestors left for us.